We left off 320, page 320. Base, we're in Mishna Berura. Says, the Mechaber says, based on the Gemara, that the money that's raised to distribute to the poor on Purim, for Sudas Purim, although in normal circumstances, the Gemara says in Erechin that the Gabbai Tzedakah, when you raise something for a particular cause, and then they want to use it for another cause, they're permitted to use it for another cause. When for most Purim, the money that's raised to provide for the Sudas Purim, that money cannot be used for anything but Sudas Purim. Ein mishanim most Purim. Hainu Moshe Govo son Hagabe l'chalkum lanim l'Sudas Purim. Ein yochol l'shanosam. You're not able to use it for anything else but what it was raised for. Lomar, dain bepochos. What would he say? It's not speaking. We're not going to provide. You know, we'll spend less. You can't see a spit. V'amose yipol l'kishel tzedakah, and the additional we'll use for other things. Avalokin agolim l'rov v'cholamos. You purchase calves, slaughter them based on the amount of money you have. V'amoser shelo yaspik ulecho b'purim yimochev yipol l'kishel tzedakah. It's quoting the Gemara. You purchase whatever the food that's left over, you sell off, and those proceeds you put into the charity fund. Even if a person made a mental commitment to give money for most Purim, is bound to the mental commitment. Because what is the position of Dagos Ashri? The Svirle did Stoka Yeshlo Din Hegdish. Stoka is the same as consecrating something for Hegdish for the Beis Hamikdash. Normally a person makes a neder. Right, a nether. The person thinks in his mind, this piece of bread or this is off limits to me. It means nothing. Because you need articulation. Without articulation, it's not an oath, and it's not. I remember many years ago when you take title insurance and you sign the document, it says, I swear that all the information is true, and you sign on it. So I remember the lawyer, who's a religious person, so I said to him, I said, maybe you should cross that, I swear, but I affirm. I said, but again, you don't have to, because there's no such thing as taking an oath in writing, right? Oath, it has to be verbalized, right? Even though legally, it's like saying when you say you affirm, it's the equivalent legally. It's like you swore. So all the consequences of lying would be the same, right? It's considered perjury, but within the context of taking an oath, it's nothing a shvur. So the same thing.
Right.
Doesn't mean. I mean, I crossed it out because again, it shouldn't be misunderstood that I swore. So I crossed it. I said, "Would it be okay to just write I affirm?" He says, "It's fine." You know, and just initialed it, and that was it. But it's better. But it's not shvur, neder, take an oath or make a vow has to be verbalized. Stok is something else. Stok, it's like hegdish. In terms of regarding consecrating an animal, it says even if you do it in mind, because it says nediv leiv. The generosity of the hearts, even if you don't verbalize it. The tzedakah acheres im yeshminik osav ir losis most purim lechazon in yisubedover. If the custom is that part of the money, when people give money, they have in mind that the balkorei, he receives a certain percentage of the money. There's nothing wrong with that because that was the intention initially. Ein yisubedover tcholados the adaitim in hoganosei, because when a person gives the money, it's whatever the custom in the community is. Avlo nafki b'dei yidei matoros levyonim. Afilu machazononi. Here, let's say the balkorei. He's a poor man, and you have in mind that part of the money you give should go to the chazon. No, because he's the balkorei. He says one does not fulfill his obligation of matoros levyonim, alms to the poor, because there you're paying him a fee for reading the Megillah. Has nothing to do. There's a separate obligation of matoros levyonim. The came to b'chlaus schirus achazon. This is towards his salary, so to say. You're paying off a debt. Elo mikein mechalkim mehem la'aniyim. V'davka gaboyim Okay? He says, we say, who cannot use the money? Only the money that was raised for Sudas Purim has to be used by Sudas Purim. They can't say, we'll give them less and we'll use it for other needs in the community. But the only who was given the money to purchase Sudas Purim, and he has other financial, he has a financial hardship, and he wants to spend less, and he wants to use the vast majority for other things, that's the prerogative of the format. He can do whatever he wants. What about the people themselves? The people themselves realize that there are other needs in the community. So, you know something, we want to give some of the money should go to other communal needs. Do they have a right? That's the question. You know, it's interesting. The Gemara says in Avodah Zarah that Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma, you know, Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan was one of the 10 martyrs who was killed by the Romans. That they wrapped the Sefer Torah around him, they burnt him. The one story with the sponges, the wool sponges on his heart to keep him alive, with the executioner. And he said to the executioner that if he takes the sponges off his heart and he dies quicker, so he says, would I have a share in the world to come? He says, yes. So he took it off. He died immediately, and a baskol came out that this executioner has a share in the world to come. It's Gemara Avodah Zarah. So right before that Gemara, the Gemara speaks about a conversation between Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma and Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan. Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma was at the end of Pirkei Avos, where he met somebody, and he says, Shalom Aleichem, Rebbe, Mori, they're from our community, or would you like to come live in our community? Same person, Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma. So he says, if you give me, he says, what kind of, who's in your community? Do you have Talmidei Chachomim? Do you have Sofrim? He says, no, but we'll pay any salary you want. He says, I'm not coming. You know, you offer me all the money in the world, I will not go to a community where there are no Talmidei Chachomim. He quotes the pasuk, Tovli Torah Spichem, Alfizor, Liah Kes, Liazov. Hashem says, of course, the only thing you take from this world is Torah Masim Tovim. Therefore, all the money in the world means nothing. That was the conversation. So there's a conversation with Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma, Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan. Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan says, am I a ben olam haba? Could you imagine? He's the leading Torah sage of the generation. And he asks Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma, the colleagues, am I a ben olam haba? So he says, could you cite an incident in your life that happened with you? And from there, we'll be able to tell you whether you're a ben olam haba. He says, yes, there was an incident where most Purim, this is the story, most Purim intermingled with my own money. And it was a question. And evidently it was a substantial amount of money. And I went and I gave the money for most Purim. I did not keep it for myself. He says, if that's what you did, you're a ben olam haba. Right? Because you were able to withstand that test, you didn't want it to benefit from most Purim that you set aside for the poor. Therefore, you're ben olam haba. That's the story. That's the Gemara in Avodah Zarah. So there's a famous Rambam Pirush Mishnais in Makos. Rotzah Kodesh Baruch Hu L'Zakus Yisrael L'Fikach Hirbelem Torah Mitzvos. Right, famous Mishnah. Right. So on that Mishnah, the Pirush Mishnais says, what does that mean? I mean, logically, it would be just the opposite. Because Hashem wanted to bring merit to Klaus, so He gave us an abundance of Torah mitzvahs. Give us less to contend with. You'll be able to. It's easier to succeed. You have an enormous amount of mitzvahs. There's a great likelihood of failing. So what do you mean? Rotzah Kodesh Baruch Hu L'Zak Selficha Hirulem Torah Mitzvos. Famous Rambam's question. Pirush Mishnais. The end of Makos. He answers. He says, to merit that special location on my boy, you have to do a mitzvah b'shleimus. To do a mitzvah perfectly. He says, what's an example? The story, Rabbi Yosef ben Kisma and Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan, that the most Purim, the money of Purim intermingled with his own money, and of course he had a share in the world to come. Rabbi Chanina ben Trajan didn't have a share in the world to come, but he wanted to know that he merited that special location. So in that he says, could you share an incident in your life with me? And so he told him over this. He says, if that's the case, you did that mitzvah perfectly. So the Rambam writes, it's worthwhile, although you may fail endlessly in your life, but if among all that you may do the mitzvah one time in your life perfectly, to have that special location in the world to come, it's all worthwhile, despite the failings. That's the Rambam, famous Rambam Pirush Mishnais at the end of Makos. It's worthwhile to look into it.
Well, I don't understand it. Not allowing yourself to be in a community where there is no Talmud. It could be also an incentive to go to that community and teach the people.
Okay? We're going to pick we'll discuss it. You can look it up. Look up. It's last, at the end of the last Mishnah. The end of Pirkei Avos. Mashi Yisro Tzalom Afa Govim Govu Mos L'Tzor Sudas Purim. Mikol Mokav Yishloni Rishus Lotzian L'Shat Tzrochov. It's a story I read a few months ago of Chaim Sanzer. Famous Chaim Sanzer. He was known, besides being the leading Torah sage, one of the leading Torah sages of his generation, his chesed was unequal. And he wasn't well. And he had to go to Vienna to have some kind of surgery, whatever the surgery was in those days. It was over the 1800s. And he had many followers. People would come to him. He was like a rebbe. The Sanzer dynasty, right? So, so people who revered him, they gave whatever money was needed. They gave to his son. They gave to his son. And his son and his wife, they traveled to Vienna for the surgery. So it was a long train ride. So they're going to the train, and the train stops in many cities. Somebody gets on. So Rav Chaim Sanzer says to his son, "Let me hold the money." Packets of money, and this was the money that was needed for the medical, for the medical attention that he needed for the surgery. So father says, "Look, does he have to worry? His father may give away the money. There are no poor people." Because if a poor person is anywhere in his proximity, he's giving away the money. So he can't trust his father. They're not going to have. Dozed off, and he's awake. He's sitting and learning on the train. And sure enough, person gets on the train, not a bit dressed well, and he's crying. It's a reversal. And he was a person who supported his community, this and that. And he has a certain amount of money to pay off his debtors. It's all over. Not only will he suffer, many people we help suffer. His employees are going to be put out of work. Families are going to suffer. And he's crying. He has no idea the rabbi has any money. He's asking for a bracha. For a bracha. That's all he's asking. The rabbi takes the 2 packets of money. He gives it to him. That's the story. His son has no idea what happened. They finally come to Vienna. And they need to pay for the coach to take them to the hotel. So they have the coach waiting there. So the son says, "Do you have the money?" He says, "What money?" He says, "I gave you the money. Where is it?" He says, "Oh, I gave it away." He gave it away. It was disastrous. What do we do now? Can't even pay for the hotel. Forget about the medical costs, everything else. Whatever, it worked out at the end of the day. Worked out. Somebody came. Not only did he cover the medical costs and everything else, he gave more money, so the whole thing. So afterwards, the son was upset with his father. Afterwards, he regretted. He should suspect, he should question his father. His father was the equivalent of a malach, Reb Chaim Sanzer. If he did it, evidently it's the right thing to do. You don't understand, you don't understand.
Where did you live?
Czechoslovakia, Hungary, Czechoslovakia. Not Munkac. Wait, it's very important to hear David's question. I want David's question. No, seriously. No, I want to bring out a point.
Who's your closest friend? His closest friend is oneself. So
Okay.
this man is he had a choice, but the rabbi he's traveling to Vienna for surgery. This is for his own. And you can't put yourself in a position where you have to focus on a miracle if you don't even know it's a miracle.
Okay, I'm going to quote a Rambam based on a pasuk. It says, pashas Mishpatim, it says a person injures another person, so he has to pay multiple damages. He has to pay medical expenses. It says rapo yirape. That's what Torah says. Rapo yirape. So it says mikan shish rishus l'rofi l'rapos. I mean, if a person is not well, something happens to a person, how do you have the right to seek out medical attention? If God wants you to be ill, you can't interfere with God's God's plan. No, doctor has the right to heal. God says it's okay. It's okay. Man has a right to help himself, and you have an obligation to help the person in terms of recovery, to provide your medical expertise. The Ramban says, on that rape yirape. But if a person's at the level of bitochon, and trust in God, there's no rape yirape. You do not have to go to the doctor. If you're at a level of bitochon, that you're sure that God, you're in the hands of God, if you're at the level, it's not irresponsible not to go to the doctor. That's the Ramban. Rape yirape is a heter. It permits you to go to the doctor. It's not an obligation to go to the doctor. But of course you have to be at that special level of trust in God, only then don't you have the obligation to the doctor. That's the Ramban. So I'm saying, Reb Chaim Sanz's son wasn't at that level. He has no right to give away the money, bears judgment, somebody else that I have no right. But the person himself, he knows where he's at. Reb Chaim Sanz was at that level. Therefore he had a right to give it away. And he wasn't worried. It's going to work out. Factually, he had the medical. Somebody provided. But it's going to work out. But you have to be at that level.
It's the level of a bala.
Whatever the level is, it's a special level. But he suffered.